Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really try to cut through the noise for you. Today, we're digging into something, well, something pretty huge and definitely controversial: Worldcoin.
Yeah, huge is the word. Worldcoin's got this incredibly ambitious goal, basically building a global identity and financial network.
Okay, identity and finance. What's the driving force?
Well, it really comes down to two big things. First, figuring out who's actually human online versus, super smart AI bots. That's becoming a massive issue. And second, they want to bring financial access to literally everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's stirred up a ton of debate.
Okay, let's unpack that first part then. The whole human versus AI thing, I mean, we all see weird stuff online, but is it really that big a problem that we need, well, this? Why now?
It's a really good question, and honestly, it feels urgent. The core problem, what the WorldCoin people call proof of personhood, is hitting a critical point because of AI.
Should I put personhood?
Yeah, think about it. Generative AI is getting so good so fast. It's like almost impossible sometimes to tell if you're reading something written by a person or a machine or interacting with a real account.
Yeah, you see those articles or comments. You just don't know anymore. So what are the real dangers here that WorldCoin says it's trying to stop?
It's not just annoying fake comments. We're talking about serious threats. Things like Sybil attacks. Basically, thousands of fake accounts flooding social media to sway opinions or spread, total misinformation.
Okay, yeah, that's bad.
And it's also about fraud. Think about trying to get limited resources, government help, maybe concert tickets, crypto airdrops.
Yeah.
Bots could just sweep them all up instantly. Real people wouldn't stand a chance.
Right, so the bots get everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this links back to Sam Altman, the OpenAI CEO. He's a co-founder here too. He sees this as building like a fundamental layer for the internet to make sure humans actually stay central, that we don't just get drowned out by algorithms.
Wow. Okay, that's a heavy concept, keeping the internet human. But you mentioned a second problem.
Yeah, the other huge piece is financial inclusion, or rather, the lack of it. There's still a massive chunk of the global population without access to even basic financial stuff, like a bank account or an easy way to send money.
Hard to imagine for some of us, but yeah, it's a huge global issue.
Definitely. So WorldCoin wants to bridge that gap, provide a way for everyone to connect to the global economy, doesn't matter where you live or who you are.
So it's really two massive goals then. Keeping the internet human-centric and opening up finance globally. That sounds incredibly ambitious, almost overwhelming.
It absolutely is.
So how does it actually work? What's the core idea behind this proof of personhood?
Right. So the main goal is to build this giant network. They want it to be the world's largest identity and financial network owned by the community, kind of like a public utility. That's the vision.
A public utility for identity.
Sort of, yeah. And the heart of it is this protocol called World ID. That's the proof of personhood bit. It's meant to be a reliable way for you, online, to just prove you're human. Maybe think of it like this. Imagine the internet is a super busy highway, right? Getting totally clogged. WorldCoin wants to build a special fast lane just for verified humans.
Okay, a human-only lane.
Exactly. And World ID is like your digital passport to get into that lane. Crucially, it proves you're a human, a unique human, but not necessarily which human you are. It's about proving humanity without spilling all your personal details everywhere.
Okay, that analogy helps. A digital passport for being human. So
Okay.
how do I get this passport? Is it complicated? Is it something, a regular person can actually do?
Well, this is where it gets very distinctive. It involves a specific piece of hardware called the orb.
The orb. Right, I've seen pictures. Looks like something out of a movie. Big chrome ball.
That's the one. Bowling ball size, very shiny.
Yeah.
It's the key to the whole verification process. So here's the basic flow.
Okay, walk me through it.
First, you'd need to find an orb operator.
Yeah.
Someone who has one of these devices. You go visit them.
Okay.
Then, the orb scans your iris. It uses these fancy multispectral sensors to get really detailed images of your eye pattern.
Scans my eye. Okay, that's intense.
It is. Then, there's AI actually on the orb itself. It does what they call a liveness check.
Likeness, like making sure I'm not holding up a photo.
Exactly that. Or a video,
Yeah.
or some sophisticated fake. It needs to be sure it's a real, live person standing there. That's fundamental to stopping fraud.
Right, that makes sense.
Once it confirms you're real and alive, it analyzes the unique texture of your iris
Yeah.
and generates numerical code They call it an iris code.
Yeah.
Just a string of numbers representing your unique pattern.
Okay, a code based on my eye.
Now, here's the part they really emphasize for privacy, and it's definitely controversial. We'll get into that. But they say the original iris images, the pictures of your eye, they are immediately and permanently deleted right there on the orb.
Immediately, like right after the code is made.
That's the claim. Poof, gone. They don't store the actual eyeball pictures, only that anonymous iris code gets used.
Huh. Okay.
That iris code then gets cryptographically processed, scrambled up basically, and that's what's used to issue your World ID, your proof of personhood. And the sort of the root record of all these verified IDs gets secured on the Ethereum blockchain using their own system called WorldChain.
Okay, wait. Privacy. You mentioned it's controversial. Even if the images are deleted, that iris code is still based on my eye, right? That's incredibly unique to me. How can they promise privacy when they have that code linked to me being a unique human?
That is the critical question, and it's where a technology called zero-knowledge proofs, or ZKPs, comes in.
Zero-knowledge proofs. Heard of them, but LE5.
Okay. Basically, once you have your World ID, ZKPs let you prove something is true without revealing the underlying information that makes it true.
Like magic.
Kind of feels like it. So you can prove to a website or an app that you possess a valid World ID, meaning you are a unique, orb-verified human without actually showing them your iris code or any other personal identifying information.
Okay. So it's like showing a bouncer you have a valid ID that proves you're over 21, but they don't get to see your name or address on the ID itself.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Exactly. You prove the fact you're human, you're unique, without revealing the data, your specific biometric code. The app just gets a yes-no confirmation.
Okay, ZKPs are doing some heavy lifting there. And how do users manage all this?
There's the World app. It acts as your wallet, a self-custodial wallet, meaning you control your keys, your funds, and it holds your World ID credential.
Self-custodial, that's important in crypto.
Very. And then there's WorldChain, which I mentioned. It's what's called a Layer 2 blockchain, built on top of Ethereum using something called the OP stack. Think of it as that faster, cheaper highway lane we talked about, specifically designed to prioritize transactions from people with verified World IDs. They even plan to subsidize the transaction fees, the gas fees, for verified humans.
Subsidized fees. Okay. So, bringing it back to me, the regular person, what are the actual practical benefits of going through the orb scan, getting this World ID, and using the World app? What's in it for me?
Okay, good question. Let's break down the user benefits they highlight. First, and maybe most impactful for many, is financial inclusion.
Right, the second big goal.
Exactly. The World app is a crypto wallet. It lets you hold and transfer digital assets. For someone maybe shut out of traditional banking, this could be a direct gateway to the global economy.
How usable is that day-to-day, though? Can I buy coffee with it?
Well, that's where the planned World Card comes in. They've announced a partnership with Visa. The idea is you'd be able to spend your digital assets, the WLD tokens they give out, stablecoins like USDC, anywhere Visa is accepted. That could be a massive break.
Okay, a Visa card linked to the app. That's pretty tangible. What else?
Second benefit, enhanced online security and trust. Having that verified World ID lets you prove you're human. This helps fight those Sybil attacks we talked about.
So where would I actually use that?
Think online voting in communities, getting fair access to token airdrops, maybe securing event tickets. And online gaming, they actually partnered with Razer to help combat bots cheating in games. So, proving you're a human player.
Okay, gaming makes sense. Bots are a nightmare there.
Definitely. Third benefit, going back to privacy. Privacy in online interactions. Because of those ZKPs, you can prove you're human without just handing over your identity to every single app or website you use. You get more control over what you share.
Selective disclosure. I like the sound of that.
Fourth, there's the potential future value. This is more long-term vision, but they talk about universal basic income, UBI. The idea is that AI might generate so much wealth in the future.
Yeah, the UBI discussion is everywhere.
That maybe some of it could be distributed universally. And this network, World ID, could potentially be the rails to deliver that UBI globally. It's a big if, but it's part of the vision.
A UBI distribution network. Wow. Okay. And the last one.
And finally, the immediate incentive. When you get verified by the orb, you usually receive what they call a Genesis grant, basically some free WLD tokens, they're cryptocurrency.
Ah, the token incentive. Right.
It's meant to bootstrap the network and get people involved early.
Okay, so financial access, online trust, privacy controls, potential UBI, and free tokens to start.
Yeah.
It does paint a compelling picture, but...
There's always a but with something this big.
Exactly. This sounds incredibly visionary, almost utopian in parts.
No.
But with that scale of ambition, there have got to be massive challenges, huge criticisms. Let's get into the risks. What are the biggest ones Worldcoin is facing?
Yeah, and this is really important to understand. Worldcoin faces enormous risks. Some might even say existential ones. The absolute biggest right now is probably the overwhelming regulatory backlash.
Backlash? Like how bad?
It's pretty widespread. Their operations have been directly stopped or banned in several countries: Spain, Kenya, Portugal, Hong Kong, Brazil, Indonesia. The list is growing. South Korea hit them with a hefty fine, over $800,000. And there are active investigations happening in places like Germany, France, the UK, major economies.
Wow, banned in that many places. What are the regulators actually saying? What are their specific complaints?
It boils down to data protection concerns. Many are citing violations of laws like GDPR in Europe. There are serious questions about whether it's even legal or necessary to collect biometric data as sensitive as an iris scan just for identification.
Yeah, the necessity argument. Is this the only way?
Exactly. And big questions about informed consent. Are people, especially in developing nations where they've focused a lot of orb operations, truly understanding what they're signing up for when there's a financial incentive, like those WLD tokens, attached?
The token lore potentially clouding judgment.
That's the concern. Plus, issues have been raised about collecting data from minors in some cases. It's a minefield of data privacy regulations globally.
Okay, regulatory nightmare. What else?
Next up, centralization concerns. Despite the talk of a community-owned network, right now, the project is very much centered around the company that created it, Tools for Humanity, or TFH.
The company Sam Altman co-founded.
Right. TFH controls making the orbs, the software that runs on them, key parts of the network infrastructure, like the central sequencer for WorldChain. It's pretty centralized currently.
So much for community-owned right now.
Well, they promise gradual decentralization over time. But that means you have to place a lot of trust in this one commercial company to eventually give up control. That's a big leap of faith.
Yeah, trusting a company to decentralize itself. Historically tricky. Okay, what's next?
Then there's the tokenomics and inflation of the WLD token itself. The total supply is enormous. 10 billion tokens.
10 billion. Wow. How many are actually out there now?
As of, say, late 2025, projections were around maybe 3.6 billion circulating. But the key thing is it's highly inflationary.
Meaning more and more tokens keep getting released.
Constantly. Every day, new tokens are unlocked and distributed to users who verified, to the team, to early investors. These investor and team tokens have vesting schedules, meaning they unlock over time, stretching out to like 2028, 2029.
So a constant flow of new tokens hitting the market.
Exactly. And here's the problem. There aren't really any significant ways tokens are removed from circulation, what's called burning. So you have this constant selling pressure. The token's price really depends on generating massive ongoing demand to soak up all that new supply. That's a tough economic balancing act.
Right, demand has to outpace all that new supply just to keep the price stable, let alone increase it. Okay, that's a big economic risk. More risks.
Absolutely. There are significant ethical concerns, which echo some of the regulatory issues. Many privacy advocates and human rights groups have slammed the practice of collecting highly sensitive biometrics, especially targeting poorer populations in developing countries, offering what amounts to a small cash incentive via the tokens.
Yeah, the exploitation argument.
It leads to accusations of exploiting vulnerable people who might not fully grasp the long-term implications of giving up their unique biometric data. It's caused significant reputational damage. Can you really give informed consent under those conditions? It's a deep ethical question.
It really is. And are there tech risks too? Like, could the orb be hacked?
Definitely. That's the final major category. Technological risks. The orb itself isn't infallible. Sophisticated hackers could potentially find ways to trick it, maybe create fake IDs, or worse.
Worse how?
What if they could hack the orb hardware to actually extract the biometric data before it's supposedly deleted? That would be catastrophic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And even if the images are deleted, that central database holding all the iris codes, even though they're just codes, becomes what's called a honeypot, a massively attractive target for hackers.
Because it contains unique identifiers for millions of people.
Exactly. If that database were breached, it would expose unique, immutable biometric identifiers. You can change a password if it's stolen. You can't change your iris pattern. A breach like that would be permanent and potentially devastating for everyone on the list.
That risk sounds terrifyingly permanent, unlike anything else.
It's a profound risk inherent in collecting immutable biometrics at scale.
Okay. Wow. That is a lot to take in. We've covered the huge ambition, the mechanics, the potential upsides, and now these incredibly serious risks: regulatory, centralization, economic, ethical, technological. If we had to boil WorldCoin down, just the absolute essence in a sentence or two, what's the key takeaway?
Okay, boiling it down. WorldCoin is this incredibly ambitious, maybe audacious project trying to build a global digital ID and financial system using iris scans to tell humans from AI.
Yeah.
But its entire future really hangs in the balance because of massive pushback from regulators worldwide over its core method collecting biometric data and fundamental questions about its centralized nature.
Ambitious vision meets harsh reality. Okay, and that's our deep dive into WorldCoin. We've really tried to unpack its mission, the tech, the potential good, and those very, very real dangers. What really stands out to you, listening right now, as the most critical piece of this puzzle?
Stepping back for a second, WorldCoin isn't just another crypto project or tech startup. It feels more like a huge social and political experiment playing out in real time. It really forces us all to grapple with a fundamental question about where we're headed digitally. In a world increasingly shaped by powerful AI, what trade-offs are we as societies willing to make? How do we balance the potential benefits of global access and new tech against the fundamental rights of individual privacy and data security? There's no easy answer there.
That's a really powerful point to ponder. What are we willing to trade? This is a great point to quickly pause and remind our listeners of something.
That's right. If you're enjoying how we break down these complex projects into simple pieces, trying to get to the core of what matters, and you want more deep dives just like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel, CryptoBox. We do all the heavy lifting, all the research, so you don't have to.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll be back soon with more fascinating insights. Until then, keep digging.